if people don't like living in a monarchy, then go and live in a republic. Go and join Prince Harry.
First, Neil Hamilton joins me now, leader of UKIP. Neil, good speech on the show. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let's start with those comments by Lee Anderson, shall we? I wonder what you make of them. The suggestion that people who don't like the monarchy should simply leave the country. That's not the tolerance and the decency that British people have come to value in our country, is it?
Well, I don't think he was calling for them to be expelled from the country. He just, I think, was making the point that, as we know from opinion polls that have been published over the weekend, there's an overwhelming majority in this country in favour of the monarchy. So if people don't like living in a monarchy, then go and live in a republic. Go and join Prince Harry. Personally, I'd be glad to see the back of them, just as I'm glad to see the back of them.
So you'd be happy to see the back of a significant proportion of young people in this country. You would be quite happy if they all left.
Yeah, there's no concern to me whatsoever.
Who's going to do the jobs, Neil?
If at all, but
who's going to do the jobs? Who's going to man the NHS?
Sorry?
Who's going to man the NHS? Who's going to do the jobs that need doing in this country?
Well, the kind of people
significant chunks of our young people, a lot of whom don't support the monarchy, leave as you would like them to do.
Well, they're not going to, are they? But
you'd like them to.
The point is that these people were thought to be about to rain on other people's parade yesterday. There's a great national occasion. We know that it's brought enormous pleasure to millions of people, not just in this country, but throughout the world. There isn't an unlimited right to protest. Where you interfere with the rights of other people to go about their daily lives in a peaceable fashion, then I think it is right, especially if this is going to lead to some kind of scuffle or use of megaphones. I see that some of the people arrested were thought to have megaphones yesterday to wreck the procession for the people who were surrounding them. And I think in these circumstances, the police are right to take action. I mean, London's been brought to a halt by all these young idiots in Just Stop Oil for it many times in the last.
But it was also brought to a halt.
There
were lots of roads. There was lots of roads around here closed the other day because nurses were protesting about their pay. No.
Yeah. Well,
is that wrong?
There are rules about protests, particularly in the centre of London. You can get permission to interrupt the traffic to hold a demonstration. I've been on such demonstrations.
So it's okay to disrupt
over Brexit.
It's okay to disrupt the people going about their day-to-day activities. Hold on. I want to be clear on this. You think it's okay to disrupt people's day-to-day activities if the police have given permission? That's the distinction.
Well, that's the law.
And you're happy with it?
And there are circumstances. You have to draw a balance here.
But as I understand it, some of the protesters yesterday had also been given permission.
Sorry?
As I understand it, the police had given permission for some protest to be held yesterday.
Yeah, well, I don't know the circumstances, but if the police thought it reasonable for people to protest, I'm happy to support the police in this. And if they think that in certain circumstances people might be interrupting the pleasure of others, especially in an event where the world was looking on as well, it's a massive state occasion yesterday. The last one happened 70 years ago. There are plenty of opportunities for people to protest against the monarchy in circumstances where they're not interfering with other people's rights.
Just going back to those Lee Anderson comments, is your view that if people don't like key parts of our constitutional settlement, then they should go and live somewhere else?
Well, that's up to them. I'm not going to expel them.
But you'd like them to.
Support for the monarchy looks settled and permanent.
But it's not, is it? Younger people have very different views on the monarchy to older generations.
Yeah, but fortunately, young people grow up, don't they? And then they change their opinions. We look at the opinion poll evidence about how people vote, and it's very different when they're in their early 20s from when they're my sort of age. Perhaps wisdom comes with maturity.
But when it came to Brexit, you didn't like part of our constitutional settlement. You stayed and you campaigned against it. And to some extent, you won that argument. You didn't just leave the country. I could have said to you 10 years ago, if you don't like us being in the EU, go and live in a country that isn't. That's what you're telling people today.
Yeah, I'm not objecting to Republicans' right to stay in Britain and try to change the law. That's everybody's democratic right. But if they feel so strongly about it, and given that it's very unlikely they're going to succeed in their ambitions, then it seems to me perfectly reasonable to suggest go and live in a republic. Go and live in the Republic of Ireland, for example. That isn't very far away.
Neil, good to speak to you. Grateful for your time on the show.